Welcome to Here's the Catch, the best podcast on the air every week, except for last week.
Well, actually, we were the best, but then I think that really some team just came out of absolute nowhere. Say that like maybe a 16th seed maybe came out of nowhere and upset
All
us.
right.
So I'm not sure if we're the best anymore.
You have time to get into that. That will be the taboo subject of the podcast today. What tournament? What tournament? I don't know.
Never fear, though. We actually will talk
Tell
about
them the
that
things
tournament.
we will talk about today.
We actually will talk about that tournament, which starts in the Sweet 16. There is no first weekend. We're going to talk about some NBA basketball because we love basketball. We've got the slightest bit of baseball and hockey, and then a little bit of some off-season football as well. Let's get into it.
Let's get it. Here's the
UMBC.
Here's the catch. Here's the catch. Here's the catch.
UMBC. Fly, retrievers, fly.
Your clothes. ACC regular season and tournament champions. Thank you very much.
Here's the catch. All right, that was a good one.
Here's the catch.
That was a good intro.
That was a good one. Tradition like no other.
Tradition like no other.
You know what the tradition like no other is? Cameron has to call me for the video conference. I'm not allowed to call him. And we have to have technical difficulties for about 30 minutes, which are only resolved through Cameron calling me over and over and over until we finally get the right one.
You know what they say? If it doesn't work, then just kick it. We were going to start this podcast at approximately noon Eastern. It is now 12:39, so we are right on schedule. Let's get into it.
We are here.
Our hot take for the day. We usually like to start these shows with a hot take. The hot take is that the best players in their various leagues are actually really good at what they do. In case you missed it, LeBron yesterday was LeBron. He had 17 assists and no turnovers to go with 35 points. He's the first person in like 35 years or something like that to do that. So, hot take, LeBron's good. And simultaneously, Sidney Crosby had, and I hate Sidney Crosby, like fuck Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, on the Google Doc that Cameron and I are reading off, Cameron wrote Sidney Fuckboy Crosby.
Yeah, so Sidney Fuckboy Crosby had maybe the goal of the regular season so far. He took a puck out of midair, like hit it up in the air to himself across the goalie, and then hit it once again in midair into the net. So Sidney Fuckboy Crosby apparently is okay as well.
But yeah, can confirm, worth a watch. It was a good goal. Speaking as a non-hockey guy, is it possible for LeBron and Sidney Crosby to both be really good at their respective sports at the same time? Is that allowed?
Well, Sidney Crosby actually went back to being really bad right after the goal. So like the thing is, it's still like fuck Sidney Crosby, but he had like one brief flash. Honestly, is he legit? I don't think so. More of a flash in the pan guy.
I think honestly, if we're talking hockey, this kid Giannis Antetokounmpo, big up and comer in the league. Watch out for him. Also in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. How is his AHL career?
AHL career?
Do you even know what the AHL is?
Well, it's probably the American Hockey League.
It is.
All right.
Yep.
He played in the GHL for Greeks.
Okay, fair enough. At one point here, we'll do a Let's Learn Sports, and I'll teach
the GHL.
I'll teach Isaac about the AHL. But let's move on to some basketball. There were some huge games on Wednesday night in between both the Spurs and Wizards. That was the second game, and the first game was Cavaliers-Raptors, which obviously, as we alluded to, LeBron kind of did LeBron things, and the Cavs
The Wizards won both games, though. The Wizards won.
Well, Wizards didn't win.
Well, false. Okay. Here,
all right.
Real Wizards news, John Wall back on Friday.
That is actually huge.
Which is probably today by the time you guys hear this podcast. So
let's kind of get into what that means. As far as the Eastern Conference, Isaac, what do you think? Let's ignore the regular season for now, because I think that people will shift around and who really cares. But for the playoffs, who do you think makes the second round, and who do you think makes? Well, just kind of walk me through how you view the playoffs playing out.
All right. I think whoever gets the 6th seed is dead in the water, which is unfortunate because they'll have to. Like, I think the Cavs are basically going to be locked into the 3 seed at this point,
Yeah.
and the Cavs are going to make the second round 100%. I
So
think the
right now it's the
Rap,
Sixers,
even though
the Pacers, and the Wizards all within a half game for the
yeah,
4
they're
through
in that
6
4 or 5
spots.
spot in a half game, and then Miami and Milwaukee round out the top 8, and all of those teams are pretty like safely into the playoffs at this point with 10, 12 games to go. Milwaukee has a 5-game lead on the Pistons, who RIP traded for Blake Griffin to make the playoffs, and that did not
Work it all.
pan out. Anyways, so Cleveland's going to make the second round. LeBron's going to be in the second round of the playoffs. I think Toronto is a lock to make it, almost definitely. And then
Do you
the
think that
one,
there's any chance that Boston loses to Miami?
no, but I don't think so. No, I think there's a chance they would lose to the Bucks though, if they played the Bucks. If Giannis does some Giannis things in the playoffs, so I think
And
that would be the matchup to look out for, and
so
the matchup they're more worried about.
you you think even without Kyrie?
Well, if they don't have Kyrie, I think everything changes. But
Okay,
he is
so
expecting to be back.
sure. Okay. So you think
The
top
knee is
three?
obviously becoming a much bigger concern than we originally looked at.
Yeah.
Basically, what
So
I saw is he's got some screws in his knee from a previous surgery that hurt him, and he can either have season-ending surgery to have them removed or play through the pain. But at this point, like he's gonna be playing a little bit hobbled. So, to what extent that affects him is a serious question for the Celtics going forward. I just think the Celtics are like now not the hot pick to unseat the Cavs. I think the Raptors are proving to be a lot better than the Celtics.
yeah, I mean, I think that the Celtics are now clearly, at best, the third best team in the conference. Like, I think that they've dropped well below the Toronto Cleveland tier. I think that they even with a hobbled Kyrie, they will have enough to get through the first round, even if it's Giannis. But I think that I think that Cleveland could beat them in 5. Just
It would
because
be
I just
exciting to
don't.
see if the 76ers have enough. Like, if they stay in the 4 seed here, I would expect them probably, at least from a talent standpoint, to beat the Pacers. And that would be huge to have the process already to the point of second round Eastern Conference playoffs.
Well, do you think that of the Sixers, Pacers, Wizards trio, like who do you think's the best there?
Wizards, obviously.
With
But
John
that's a
coming
homer
back?
take.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Sixers are the more talented team, but I think they're still just young. And I think playoff experience is going to matter for them.
Yeah.
So they'll probably lose a game or two that they should win.
I think that John Wall gets the Wizards through either of those two teams. I mean, like the Wizards are a half game back without their best player playing for the last 30 games, which is, like a third of the
Yeah, but
more than
playing
a third
well.
of the
The
season.
deal is the Wizards' record didn't suffer noticeably.
Well, they're 4-6
They
in
were
their last
basically on
10.
the same page. Sorry?
They're 4-6 in their last 10. Like they were, but recently they've struggled a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
But
So-
do you see pretty much a lock Toronto Cleveland coming out?
Yeah, those are the top two, and I think they're not worried. And I think the Wizards, if they don't play the Cavs, are going to win their first round series almost definitely
Okay.
because we play well in the playoffs.
Yeah. And then we would lose to either Toronto or the Cavs.
Yeah, likely. That's how
All
I
right.
see it.
All right.
going
So,
down.
all right. So then, and I think that we might differ on this opinion now. Who do you have between Toronto and Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Still Cleveland because LeBron doing LeBron things like he did last night.
Yeah, I've got. So we're going to disagree. I actually think that Toronto with the home court, and I know it's a risky proposition to bet on that team in the playoffs because they literally never do anything in the playoffs. But I just think that they're a lot better top to bottom, and like LeBron's going to make it 7 games. Like he'll make it super competitive, but I just like the rest of that team is just not that good. They won last night by what was it, 3 points? Like
They won by 3. And the Rockets put up, 80 points in the first half or something absurd.
they won
Put
by
up
3
7.
points at home, and Toronto was on the second night of a back-to-back. Like I
And it
don't
took
know.
a heroic effort from LeBron.
I
I just think, you said the Raptors are better top to bottom, but they're not. They're better second best player to bottom,
Sorry,
and LeBron
you're
is
right.
at
You're right.
such a high tier that like the Raptors' huge strength this year has been their bench. Their bench is playing fantastic basketball, and that does not matter as much in the playoffs
But
when starters
it
just
still matters, though. Like it still matters. Like, you're right; it doesn't matter as much, but it's not like the Toronto starting unit's bad by any stretch. It's like
right, but they don't have LeBron.
correct, but it's so. But this would be one of the like outside of the 2016 finals when he dragged him, or really in like the 2015 finals when he like made that a series against the Warriors. I think that this is gonna be one of LeBron's more kind of do-it-yourself type performances if they're gonna get into the finals.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, one year it's gonna happen that he can't do it. I just don't think this is the year yet.
All right, fair enough.
He's
Let's
still
move
that
on
good.
over to the Western Conference. Do you want to say anything about the Western Conference? I still have the Warriors. Do you still have the Warriors? Are you
Yeah,
worried
still
about the
Warriors.
Rockets?
I mean, yes, again, health because of health concerns. I think healthy Warriors beat the Rockets, but like all four of their guys are hurt right now, which
Yeah,
is absurd.
but they should all be back though, right? Like
Yeah, but how back? If Steph is playing a little like tentative, the Warriors are significantly worse.
yeah.
I think like if and Clay like broke his thumb on a shooting hand, that's tough because what he does is shoot.
Okay, so how worried are you?
So a little worry for me, but I still have the Warriors coming out of that.
Got it.
What about the Trailblazers? Are they legit?
No,
Legit 3 seed?
uh, no.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that a
I mean,
Trailblazers Warriors series.
I think that they're good. I think they're as good as like any other team in the West. Better than. Like, I think that OKC might still be a slightly better, like slightly more worrying matchup for Golden State, but I don't think either of them worries them at all.
I mean, I would much rather play OKC than Portland. I think the Trailblazers are way more consistent, and I think OKC in the playoffs are gonna like run into Russell Westbrook trying to do everything, and they're gonna fall apart. That's what I think.
Interesting. I would definitely take OKC. I just think they've got more, between Russell and PG. I think that they've just got a better team. Like as good as Damian Lillard is, and he is phenomenal. Russell Westbrook's better, and so
I'm looking at these other matchups. There's a right now it would be Trailblazers Spurs in the first round, which is interesting.
like
That's like a classic.
I'm not positive that the Trailblazers are going to win that game or win that series. I
series?
should say.
Yeah, that would be a classic. Like Popovich just completely outcoaches the Trailblazers.
Yeah,
Unclear if Kawhi will be back.
but ultimately, it's irrelevant. I think Golden State beats Houston, although I am a little bit worried. All right, baseball is now just exactly 1 week away.
1 week,
March
probably 6 days.
29th. March 29th. Yeah, probably 6 days by the time you guys are reading this. So let's talk about the one baseball player that we've decided as a podcast and that's Shohei Ohtani. He is the official baseball player of Here's the Catch. And the talk is that
Big honor.
he might be sent down to the minors, which is actually not a good start for our official baseball player of HTC, and especially for a guy who came over for so much money and expected to really kind of be a star and a difference maker on the Angels, and now might not even make the team as spring training. So, in your professional baseball opinion, how worried are you?
About Shohei, I'm gonna say not worried. I'm gonna say he just needs a little more time to adjust because he's not just moving to the MLB; he's moving to the United States.
Yeah.
The big city life was too much for him. He got frazzled. I mean, the Angels he's on the Angels, right?
Yep.
Yeah, good knowledge. The Angels, they know they're going to sell out on opening day because it's opening day. If they bring him up in a month, once the crowds have started to fizzle out and Mike Trout's broken his wrist again, that's some surefire ticket sales.
So
that's my take.
All right. So do you think the Angels make the playoffs this year?
Oh, yes. Well, no clue. How close were they last year?
um, like close, but they didn't make it, but not that close.
But Mike Trout was hurt, so I'm going to say yes.
All right, you're going yes on the Angels in the playoffs. How many? How
And
many?
Shonen has a higher WAR than Mike Trout.
That is a hot take. I
Yeah,
will take the
heard it here
opposite
first
on
though.
that one, but I like it. All right,
Let's see. I'm pulling up odds for the preseason World Series winners. So the preseason champs are the Houston Astros. Also,
yeah.
that would be a defending championship situation at 11-2, tied with the Dodgers, also 11-2. Then Yankees, Cubs, Indians, Nationals are the top six. I just wanted to keep going until I got to the Nats. What are we? 9-1? Not bad.
I think I would not bet on that. I don't like our team this year. Well,
No
I think
chance.
I mean there's always a chance. I don't know, but we've lost in the first round enough at this point for me to know that it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, but Adam Eaton back from his ACL tear.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the difference.
Bryce Harper contract year. Everyone plays in their contract
That
year.
is true. It is a contract year. That is kind of well. It's not that the storyline of him reaching free agency is slept on, but the fact that he's about to hit like 100 home runs because it is a contract year for him, that story is slept on.
Actually, is he? Like, how much could he do at this point to depress his market versus
I think he
get
could
more
actually
money?
do quite a bit
Like, if you
because
think he could have a shit year and
well,
your team's off?
well, he's had two MVP quality years and then 1 year that was garbage, just legitimately garbage. So
Yeah.
and like
Well, league average or
and
garbage?
garbage, well, league average, but for
But garbage. Yeah, yeah, garbage.
and for a guy that's hoping to break the record for contract by something like $70 million, like he's trying to be the first $400 million guy. It's not like he can be average. He has to be
Yeah, yeah, so big,
MVP
yeah.
caliber in order to do that.
All right, so let's just have that. And then, obviously, win his ring and stick around because he decides he likes DC.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
That's another here to hear first.
let's go over to the NFL.
I like it.
There was a couple of minor moves, a couple major moves. Today, a little bit of breaking news. So Thursday could not be breaking by the time you're reading it. Listen to this.
Reading.
JPP went to the Bucks, and they swapped fourths. The Giants and the Bucks swapped fourths this year, and they got the third from the Buccaneers. Do you have any takes on that, Isaac?
Takes on JPP. Well, how many of his fingers did they get in the deal? 8?
I
7?
think they only got six actually fingers, six fingers.
6? He's going, okay. I'm going to say the Bucks like need to have a good year this year with all the talent they have on their D line and what Mike Evans. Basically, that's all their talent.
Yeah, and I
James
mean,
is all right.
Jameis is decent too. Yeah.
And then I'll let you give your take on the Giants draft prospects.
I mean,
Maybe,
and I saw this.
there you go.
I saw this kind of being chatted around by some pundits, but the thought being that since they've traded away JPP, the Giants might now be targeting Chubb at number 2 overall. And I heard a bunch of guys saying that he actually is a better prospect than Myles Garrett was last year, who went 1 to the Browns. So generational defensive talent, passing on their quarterback of the future. So it kind of depends on how much faith they have in Peyton in Eli Manning. But to play 2-3 years instead of just this 1 year, I think that they should not have faith in him lasting past this 1 year and should still take the quarterback. Well, actually, I think that they should trade down out of the second spot. I think they should go to like 5.
And still draft a quarterback, or just trade
And
down
still
and then
draft a
just
quarterback.
accumulate. Uh huh. Yeah, I
but-
think Eli's bad and been pretty bad and will continue to be bad, but Giants fans have enough patience in him, probably, that they can just like let him bridge the gap for another year. But I think they need to, unless they don't like the quarterbacks in this draft, and that's why they did it. If they hate the quarterbacks, they
Which
can
they
wait a year.
shouldn't.
But
I mean,
if they see
this is
anything
kind
good,
of
they should take him now.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
I mean, D end is the second most important position group in football, but it's just like having a dominant rusher does nothing in comparison to having
Having
a
a QB.
guy who can play quarterback for 10 years.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would still go QB. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Browns have got to be feeling pretty good about themselves at 4. Because
Yeah.
if they can get their QB at 1 and then also Chubb at 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
Browns feeling good about themselves is a bit of a
yeah, you're right.
stretch.
You're right.
Bit of an
Well,
optimism there.
Browns have got to be feeling more optimistic than they have in years.
I was liking Saquon Barkley getting pick number 1, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just for it because it's a little different, you know.
I think that Barkley might fall all the way to the Colts at 6, and I think that they might love that.
They would definitely love that.
Well, they would love that, and but that would just be not altogether surprising because of how QB heavy the top's going to be, but it'll just be such a good draft for them if they could get such a generational talent at running back. Really help out that offense at number 6. And picked up and
a little healthier.
Hopefully,
they can run the ball. I'm pulling up my list of other notable NFL offseason things. We got Jordan Nelson to the Raiders. Thoughts? I'd say washed. Washed is my thought on that one.
Yeah, washed as well. Apparently John Gruden is already going against the analytics and is saying he's not an analytics guy.
He said analytics suck.
So
he said I want to bring football back to like
1998. 1998, he said. So in case you were worried about him being a bad coaching signing, you don't have to worry anymore.
Because he is going to make the Raiders as good as they were
in 1998.
In 1865, when you weren't allowed to throw the ball.
Will
all those
over under on 2.5 pass attempts per game next year for the Raiders.
Under. I was going to say RPOs. He's never going to run an RPO.
Oh, does he even know what those are?
Probably not. Not my Gruden.
I mean, you know how Gruden is under contract for 10 years? It'll be in the last year of his deal that he'll figure out that the read option might work.
Yeah, and then he'll run that. And it'll, yeah.
All right, now we're going to move on to, we are going to fill out a tournament challenge second chance bracket, which is basically where you just pick the rest of the tournament from the Sweet 16 on.
Why would anyone have to do that, Cameron? Who doesn't get the whole first 2 rounds of the tournament exactly right?
I mean, ours is actually perfect. I don't know if you saw our podcast on picking the bracket, but it is still so far perfect. I don't know why people haven't figured that out yet. But we're going to do it again and pick the exact same thing that we picked originally in this Sweet 16 on bracket and talk about the first weekend that never happened and going forward.
We're not going to talk about the first weekend, but we'll talk about the tournament that's just starting now, today.
All right. Let's start in the South region, Kansas State.
No, let's not do that.
Well, no, I was going to say Kansas State, as expected, moved on because they weren't going to play anybody particularly notable in the first 2 rounds. They have Kentucky in that matchup. Isaac,
I got the Wildcats. Get it? I got the Wildcats. Dude.
Nah, see, I do get it because they're both Wildcats.
Right, but also the Kentucky Wildcats specifically will win because they are the superior team by a lot. Like Kansas State looked okay against Creighton, and then they looked like shit against the ghost of Christmas past in their second game.
I don't think that I'm out of line in saying that Kansas State is the worst team left by far.
Yeah, by a lot. I agree.
All right, so yeah, Kentucky's in.
Spread on that is 6. Kentucky's favored by 6. I'd still take them.
I'm
think
still
they'll probably
taking them.
Kansas State.
Yeah, I think Kansas State is really, truly just shit.
Not very good. Yeah. All right.
I also think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that point guard for them, who's been just kind of balling out in the tournament, is legit, and also is the person helping himself the most as far as the draft in the tournament.
Because he was not their most notable recruit, but he's like become their best player basically, or their most important player.
Yeah, correct. All right, now we've got the Sister Jeans against Nevada.
Take the Sister Jeans, I guess.
It's got to be Sister Jeans. I read a stat. Hasn't there been a I'm actually gonna look up. I'm pretty sure that there's been a double-digit seed in the Final Four, something like 3 out of the last 5 years. And
Well,
if
I
that,
don't think they're gonna make the Final Four, but I would take them
no,
to win this one game.
but I'm saying is if that stat is gonna hold up, they have to at least beat Nevada.
Right. And I just think like Nevada also is like not that great. Both games they had to mount huge comebacks, which is like cool that they can do that, but it also means like the talent level on that team is such that they go down by 20 early in games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So probably not gonna happen. What's the line on that one, Isaac?
2. It's +2. Loyola Chicago's the underdog. So take them,
Yeah,
take
easy,
them,
easy take
and you get
Chicago
some
as an
points.
underdog. All right, let's continue on with
And they're
this.
good, man. Like they look good in the games I've seen of them.
No, they did. I mean, they knocked off Tennessee. They knocked off Miami, wasn't it? And they just
Miami was overrated, but like I don't know, they looked like a good team. Guard play is always huge in the tournament. That's what they say, and it's always true.
all right. Sweet 16 down in the West region. We've got Florida State against Gonzaga. I've got the Zags.
Yeah, take the
I
Zags
think
too.
Florida State.
Looking
I mean,
chalky.
they had a great game, but I think they're not that good.
And again, 6 point line. I think Gonzaga's just like
Better.
continues to be underrated by a lot. So
Yeah.
take them, eat the 6 points, and I think they'll
Um,
probably beat Florida State by double digits.
all right. Michigan, Texas A&M.
Go blue. Obviously, Michigan is the better team.
I disagree. I think that they may be the better team, but I think Texas A&M is playing much better basketball. They absolutely dominated UNC, who I think was a top 6 or 7 team in this tournament. I think that they control the rim and protect the rim in a way that just Moritz Wagner will not be able to handle. And I think that Michigan eventually their luck runs out. And I think that Texas A&M actually
Some
powers
respect on
past
Mo
them.
Wagner.
I,
I don't know.
I,
I think Wagner is good enough to hold his own against the Texas A&M bigs, who have been really good. But I think again, like Michigan has better matchups basically across the board.
except for the fact that
And
they're actually trash, though.
right, there's that. But like Michigan doesn't like they're not going to get any offensive rebounds, but that's fine because they don't usually. Michigan like shoots once and gets back, and like for once in like my life as a Michigan fan, like play defense. They get back and get set instead of letting the other team get out in transition. So I think like this game this year plays to Michigan's strengths in that it'll be like a half court. It won't be a super fast game, and I just think Michigan like has the more talented players.
All right, I'll give you Michigan, but after Texas A&M wins tonight, just keep in mind that you just busted our bracket.
True.
Um,
Fair enough.
Moving over
Two and
to
a half
Sweet
is the
16,
spread on that.
2.5 for Michigan.
Yeah, towards Michigan.
I mean,
So
you already
we're winning
know
by
I'm going
30.
with that. So,
Yeah.
all right, Sweet
Next
16
game.
in the East, we got Villanova, West Virginia. I think Villanova's.
Yeah, if anyone can
Easy
handle
call.
the press, it's Villanova.
I mean,
It'll be fine.
they've looked like the best team in this tournament so far, so I've got to stick with them. Texas Tech, Purdue. I've got Texas Tech.
So do I.
think
No
without-
Isaac Haas. Did you see
yeah.
the thing about how they're building him a brace though? Purdue
Yeah.
engineers are trying to build him a brace,
Yeah, that's just
which is
me.
funny, but
Absolutely.
also like even if you have a brace, your elbow is still broken. So
yeah,
I don't know how.
surely
effective
he won't
can
be that effective, regardless of like how braced he is. I'm with
Yeah.
you. That region was the most chalky for sure, with the 1, 2, 3, and 5 seeds advancing to the Sweet 16. And now
True.
let's go down to the Midwest. Kansas, Clemson.
Take Kansas. I think Clemson's outperformed how good they are. The deal is I saw Clemson score 36 points in an entire basketball game when they came to UVA, so I'm like pretty low on Clemson from what I saw.
I didn't love Clemson either. I actually did have them making it to the Sweet 16, but I do think this is kind of their peak. I think that they've performed well and they've done everything that they had to do. But Kansas and those guards are just much better, and them and as
Of the one seeds left, though, if it's between Kansas and Villanova losing this week, it'll be Kansas. I think Clemson is better suited to beat Kansas than West Virginia is. I think Villanova has like no sweat here.
I mean, I
Kansas
don't
has to be.
think I don't think that Kansas is even the best team left in their own region, and we'll get to that right now. We've got Duke, Syracuse. I mean, I'm obviously going Duke.
Well, yeah, you would,
Yeah,
but
I
you're
would.
wrong because Duke sucks a lot. Duke blows.
They blow their teams
I
out by
can't.
20
I mean,
points
the
each.
one thing is like nobody picked Syracuse in any of their games so far, and they've won them all. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's
and
the one
and
thing
and
they got
and
going.
they are playing ridiculous defense. Like they've held teams an average of like 25 points below the season averages on as far as points per game, and in all three levels that they've played so far. Obviously, they started in the first four, but
Yeah,
we beat them by 16 in Cameron a month ago. Our defense is better than it was. I still think that they can't shoot threes. They went only 1 for 8 or something like that in beating Michigan State, and Michigan State was played horrendously. But I don't think you can beat two good teams in a row in Duke and Michigan State by shooting 1 for 8 from three, and they just don't have that many shooters.
yeah, and Duke is huge compared to Syracuse, like by a lot bigger than Michigan State, I think. So just like I don't know how effective that zone will be if they just lob the ball into like Marvin and Wendell Carter inside.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I've got Duke. All right, Elite Eight. We'll go back over to the South. We've got uh, the Wildcats against the Sister Jeans.
Take Kentucky. Sorry, that's where the run ends. I think they're just like Kentucky's gonna be too talented.
Yeah, I mean, and Coach Cal's taking this team to the Final Four. I think it's surprising for sure, depending like based on where their bracket started. But at this point, the pressure's on them to do it. I think.
Yeah,
All right, then Gonzaga, Michigan. I I mean, I've got Gonzaga. I've got
yeah.
Gonzaga.
Like I will like believe in Michigan's ability to win that game and root for them, but I think the smarter pick is Gonzaga to win that. So
I
I'll give it to you.
I think that the chance that Michigan even gets to that game are lower than the chances that Gonzaga does, and so like if we're talking pure percentages, like Gonzaga has a higher percent chance of being in the Final Four.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think if Texas A&M does win that first game, they would beat Gonzaga too. I think they would be hot at that point and like just be playing. The zone defense is tough. Like the zone defense, that's why Syracuse made it so far. And that's I think every year there are a couple low seeded teams who play nasty zone defense, and it carries you in March when you don't have to like make as big adjustments to each team you're playing,
Yeah,
and that's been a huge difference maker. But all right, so Gonzaga,
Gonzaga, Gonzaga, Kentucky in the Final Four on one side, and then we've got Villanova, Texas Tech. I think that we're both on the Nova bandwagon at
yeah,
this point.
yeah, I would not have picked Texas Tech to make it that far in the first place. So like they had a good run, Elite Eight,
Yeah,
confirmed, guaranteed to happen.
but
And the
also
last one,
guaranteed to lose. And then we got Kansas, Duke. I mean, I've got Duke. I said I think that Kansas is not the strongest one seed, and
I would actually give you Duke in that game too. They just are better than Kansas.
good shit. All right, Kentucky, Gonzaga. This is the Final Four.
Gonzaga,
This is tough. Man, I don't even love Gonzaga that much, but I think,
yeah, but I just think like I don't like Kentucky that much either.
although if you think about it, if Kentucky's in this point, then they will have not lost in like 3 weeks, at least.
Right.
Like, because they just ran all the way through the SEC tournament, which was a surprisingly strong SEC this year, and then obviously made it all the way to the Final Four. I mean, going through mostly double-digit seeds and stuff, but still, in the Final Four, you got to take care of business.
I don't know. I think we have like a comp for this, which is a few years ago when Kentucky lost to UConn in the title game, but made it that far as an eight seed, they were an 8 seed. So I just think like we've seen Kentucky get really hot, but that doesn't necessarily mean like once they run into a really good team again.
Then that'll be it.
Yeah, I just think like they can make it to the Final Four without even like playing B+ basketball for them, and then that won't be enough against Gonzaga.
I buy that argument. All right, Gonzaga's in chip one versus Nova or Duke. I mean, this is tough. You obviously like, you know where my loyalties lie, but I do think Villanova with their 3-point shooting.
I think Villanova too.
It's
Think they're like
just
I think they're nearly as talented as Duke, and then like significantly more balanced and significantly more experienced,
Yeah.
significantly better coached,
Well,
significantly better
that's
looking,
not true, but
significantly less bitch boys.
well, uh, back to some actual basketball analysis and like more on just like statistics and stuff. I mean, Duke's strength is inside with Bagley and Carter. Villanova's strength is hitting threes. So obviously, look at the Rockets. You want to shoot as many threes as possible if you're going to make them. So unless they go super cold,
Which they could, but
which
just
they
like I don't see
could,
it happening. But like
yeah,
Duke
which
has not been a lockdown defensive team. They'll play zone, right?
yeah. Well, we've played only
Yeah.
zone, but we actually Duke is 8th right now in the country in Ken Palm defensive efficiency.
Yeah, that's good. Like I
Yeah,
know they've picked up the defense recently. I just think like veteran teams beat zones. Zones work against teams that don't know what they're doing.
sure. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take Villanova, and then I think we're both taking Villanova over Gonzaga in the championship.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's an easy call. But damn, that sucks. We just picked some chalk there to have
Yeah.
Villanova win from this point. But whatever.
Well, but I mean, also at this point, like I feel like the upsets always happen in the first round, and then
Yeah.
the
Generally the really good teams make the finals.
yeah, and then like good teams are like, oh wait, we're actually good, and then everyone else is like, wait, we're actually not that good, and then the good teams win.
Yeah.
So that is exactly how the tournament's going to play out over the next 2 weeks. You don't even have to bother watching anymore.
Let's do power rankings super fast.
Yeah, all right. So let's move on to a returning segment. We've got the official basketball power rankings of right
Anything
now.
related to, tangentially related to basketball is eligible for inclusion in our most powerful basketball powerful rankings. Power rankings.
All right,
Lots of power.
you
But you want to
start.
go 1 to 10 or 10 to 1?
Let's go. Let's go 1 to 10. Let's go 1 to 10.
Okay. You kick it off.
Can can you kick it off?
Sure. Wildcats. Wildcats are my number one most powerful force. We've got 3 of the Sweet 16
That is
teams
kind of a
are the
lot.
Wildcats, which is pretty
Wildcats.
high. And I 2 more W's with the Wolverines and the Wolfpack. So W mascots are now 30% of the Sweet 16, 30% of the remaining teams. So
Wow, that is
big.
powerful.
So if you're starting a team, Wildcats or another W, like the what's another W? Cameron.
A White Walker.
Washing machines. Yeah. All right. Number 2.
Number 2 is Sister Jean. Sister Jean is obviously ridiculously powerful at this stage in the sporting world. She single-handedly carried her squad,
team.
the Loyola
11.
Chicago, 11 seed, all the way to the Sweet 16, and as we just saw, all the way to the Elite 8. So can't get much more powerful than that. She's averaging approximately 98 years per game, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. Good shit, Sister Jean. She did pick them to lose in their next game. We forgot to mention that, but
Don't worry about it. She's
don't
changed her
about it.
mind.
3, I got James Harden for being the best basketball player in the world right now. Well, not like better than LeBron, but having the best season like by a long mile. Had another huge game this weekend. Gonna win the MVP. They look as poised as anyone ever has looked poised to beat the Warriors. So
Do you see
Harden's my
that
number 3.
Mike D'Antoni called him the best offensive player of all time?
Yeah, that's a hot take. Incorrect hot take, but
Incorrect hot take, but
having
yeah.
one of the best offensive like volume scoring seasons of all time. It's just that he plays in a system where volume is easy to come by.
All right, I've got schedule losses at number 4. After
Oh,
the
I like that.
after the Raptors lost by 3 to the Cavs yesterday, you've heard a lot of people talking about schedule losses because it was the second night of a back-to-back on the road. So basically, Cleveland was just guaranteed to win that game, and they only lost it by 1. So definite only lost it by 3. So definite schedule loss right there.
Especially for the Raptors because they got customs to deal with whenever they leave their
Oh,
their
man.
home court. So
I will say though, this is actually a little FYI. If anyone's going out of the country, download the mobile. It's called the Mobile Passport app. That shit lets you absolutely fly through customs. It took me like 5 minutes when I came back from Mexico.
Oh, good to know. That's also, they could make a little play on words there with the whole fly thing because you fly the plane, then you fly through customs.
Ooh, they probably should have actually.
Hit us up for branding purposes. Mobile passport. That was what, number 4? Number 5, let me select from the ones. Number 5, the Sun, because the Suns are excelling in the tank race right now. They
Ooh,
are a half game up for the worst spot in the league, so they've got the lead for the tanking race, and they have a pretty brutal schedule to finish off the season. And the Sun, obviously, more than being the mascot of the Suns, is a powerful and important piece of our lives every day. So,
and it's going to be summer pretty soon. So yeah, the Sun
yeah,
definitely on the
yeah.
rise. All right, at number 6, I've got the Union. Just in case you forgot who won the Civil War, the Union won, and also the South region is the first region to ever not have a top 4 seed advance to the Sweet 16. So the Union is on en fuego right
All
now.
connected. Yeah, you could have put Abe Lincoln. That would have been another way to do this.
Ooh, I'm actually looking at a bust of Abe Lincoln right now. Fun fact.
He was tall, dude. He could have been a hooper in a different era.
Damn. Who's better, Abe Lincoln, MJ, or LeBron? For their era. For their era.
Ooh, Abe Lincoln, dude. Can't match those numbers. In 18, whatever it was, 60s. Number 7, 6, 7.
Yeah, 7 for you.
Number 7, Dwight Howard, mostly as a fuck you, Tim, but he had 32 points, 30 rebounds last night, proving that big men can still offer some value. And because we had a big argument with Tim about Dwight Howard
Yeah.
this week, so
I'm gonna up air that fuck Tim. All right, number 8. I've got Thursday nights. Tonight we got obviously the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament, and this is really the last relevant Thursday night sports wise until like maybe the finals, but those are kind of like unplanned. So Thursday nights are peaking right now, but they're about to go downhill after this for a while.
all right, I'm with it. Number 9, we'll say Jordan Poole for that
Okay.
shot.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. That dude's getting a lot of action on campus probably right now, and by
Yeah,
that I mean he's practicing hard.
But he's practicing. Yeah, he's got a game tonight in a few hours.
Yep.
I meant to say this. I'm just going to slide this in, but jokes about the meme that says, my name is Trey and I have a basketball game tomorrow after Trey Young lost. And it was, I don't have a basketball game tomorrow. That was a powerful spot it had its moment in the sun. So maybe put that at number 9.
Okay.
9.5.
I like that. At number 10, I've got Clint Capella because with the end of the regular season and with the playoffs coming up, we're about to hear a lot about that stat, about the Rockets' record with Clint Capella, Chris Paul, and James Harden. And really, like, Clint Capella is good, but has no business being in a stat like that. But he's about to get a lot of love because of that stat. So Clint Capella, number 10 in the P ranks.
Good. And I would like to point out the huge fall from grace for strippers from our inaugural power rankings when they were at number 1 to these power rankings when they could not crack the top 10.
Oh, are they tanking?
They're tanking. Strippers are tanking.
Damn.
So if you were looking to go into that profession, just know your fame can be fleeting, short-lived.
Yeah, let's do this or that. Do we want to do
This or
anything?
that.
Is there anything else fun that we haven't decided on doing, but we could do?
Nah, I think we should just. I also have class kind of soon, so
Okay, yeah, fair
I have to
enough.
make this quick.
All right, yeah.
So this or that, we're gonna do debate Sister Jean versus the world. We talked about Sister Jean on our podcast a fair amount. I'll take Sister Jean versus the world.
Oh,
Thoughts?
so this is just a straight up Sister Jean versus the world?
Yeah, straight up.
Wow. This might be our hardest one yet. I'm going to go the world, and I don't feel good about it.
Take the field. There are a lot. There's a lot more.
Like, there are a
people
lot of
involved.
other sisters out there. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a sister, you've got a sister. Like, just like there are other sisters. And while Jean, also, not to be a downer, but Sister Jean probably is going to retire pretty soon.
Well, yeah, but
She is
we're talking.
98.
She's at the peak of her powers right now. She might not retire soon. She might go another couple hundred tournaments.
Or she might go all like Yoda on everybody and like come back as a ghost in future Loyola Chicago championship runs. So, yeah, you know what? Actually, after I went all
Switch it up.
Star Wars with it, I'm going back to Sister Jean. Sister Jean greater than the world confirmed.
All right, done. Glad we solved some mysteries. Oh, I had a question. This is like a super quick thought experiment for you. But when we were talking about all the quarterbacks going to one team, I was thinking, uh, if you can only have one position group play for every position on the whole team, what position group do you want?
I'm gonna go like either defensive linemen or linebackers.
Oh, interesting. I was gonna say wide receivers. You just have a lot of speed out there,
Yeah, like it's true that you have a lot of speed, but
and like a lot of them can probably throw decently enough.
sure, like the like Anton Randall and like Julian Edelmans of the world, but you will get rolled. Like you won't have time to throw ever.
Right. Well, you just got to get the ball out of your hands quick, and
But
then
it's got to be like beyond immediate. Like think about Julio Jones trying to block J.J. Watt.
yeah, he's getting fucked. But I don't know. Snap the ball, toss it out to Julio Jones, and he's got the ball now. So you're all right.
I I think you'd lose this real game.
All right. Good debate. Should we just say? All right. Grand finale. We don't have much, but Sports Illustrated is for sale. So Cameron and I might buy it.
We might buy that. Ooh, also the Spurs met behind closed doors to ask Kawhi to return.
Oh, that's cool. I hope he does. And the self-driving Uber car ran over a pedestrian. So sad.
That kills. That is tough. You hate to see that.
Yeah, hate to see it.
All
Or
right.
in the Uber car's case, not see it because
Yeah.
clearly didn't see anything. All right, yeah, jokes about death.
Jokes about death. All right.
Next week. See you
Next week. Yep. We'll talk about Duke being in the Final Four and some other stuff. All right. Peace.
Peace.